Hello everybody and welcome back to Arizona Adventure Park. We're having a last look at the capuchin monkeys that we built the habitat in the last episode for, and afterwards we are in the timeline now where everything that we are doing in this park is gonna be a last time. So it's the last time today that we are going to build a habitat for monkeys in the park. In this episode we're building a habitat for the Siamangs and the Orang-Utans. Usually I wanted to build a habitat, a separate habitat for both species, but then I decided no, let's just have a big one for both of them so they can interact together and have a great time in here. Inspiration for what I'm doing here, for parts of what I'm doing here, came from Sonia that built something for our community zoo in Myanmar Park. She used the climbing structures for the monkeys and connected them to the trees, and I thought this was such a great thing to do, so I wanted to do something similar. I wanted to build something like a treehouse village. So the first thing that I was doing, which is very unusual for me, is putting down some trees, as you could have seen, and then going on to build something like a staircase for the apes, so that we can build something like a little treehouse village, a little bit like for the Ewoks. A Ewok village, so to say. Building that round staircase was not that easy as I thought it would be, because rotation for these wooden planks that I'm using here didn't work the way that I wanted it to work, because the rotation axis is in the middle of the wooden planks and not on the sides, which makes the whole thing a little bit more different. By the way, I'm going to give you a video these days on rotation mechanisms in the game, so how to build not just domes but just round buildings in general, because it seems to me that I cracked the code. If I can say it like this, I just know now how it definitely works. So the thing is, you can rotate nearly everything in the game as you want it. There's just some materials that don't work, and I'm going to show you this in a classroom episode, definitely. So here we have the staircase finished for the first tree. I will put these things in the workshop. I hope I can do it just before my vacation. Not quite sure, but I try to do so. If so, you can find the link for the workshop in the video description and can download it yourself and put it in your parks. So I'm going to put that in the workshop with the tree, so that you have a whole thing going on right here. The next thing after the staircase was I wanted to have a platform on the tree where the monkeys can walk around in 360 degrees. So I just used these climbing platforms, connected them together, copied them around so that we have a nice round shaped thing going on, connect them all together and just put it in the trees. On various heights, because I wanted to connect them in a later stage with some rope bridges and climbing structures, so they can walk from one to the other side. So as you can see, with these staircases that I built, you can easily connect them to some different trees. You just don't have to use those big wimba trees. You can also use a fig tree or something like that. Yeah, just use trees with some bigger and broader stumps. Just don't know if that is the right word, but you know what I mean. Yeah, after doing that, there was one thing left to build, which was the little tree houses for our animals. For that, I'm still using the climbing structures, the climbing platforms, I have to say, for the animals. Some of these wooden roofs from the Arctic DLCs, because I think they work perfectly as something like Samoan village tree huts or something like that. And yeah, once again, trial and error sometimes with some building parts. I chose some of those wooden beams to give it a little bit support and have something on the back side as well to close it up, because we want our animals to be able to get in there only from one side and leave it from one side as well, so that they have a little shelter thing going on right here. Then I'm going to build something like a terrace and some stairs once again, so where they can enter and leave their little shelters. Yeah, this was once again a build where I had a slight idea of what I was going to build or what I wanted to build. But in the end it just turned out very, very different than that what I was thinking about. So once I start to build things and it works out and I'm happy with it, I get so much new inspiration that I just can't stop building things, and you will see where this led me to. This might be one of the habitats in Arizona Adventure Park that is the most detailed and I'm the most happy about. Yeah, just because there is so much different stuff in here and everything is working the way I wanted it to work. So the animals are using everything in here, and for once it is not annoying that the animals are climbing everything, because they are climbing only the things they should climb on, and not something where they could escape the habitat. So this is something pretty cool. Yeah, just put down some of the tree huts, a lot of them, because we are going to have yeah, a lot of animals in here once they breed and we have offspring. I just put in about 5 orangutans, I think, one big male and 4 females, or 3 females, something about that. And also 3 or 4 Siamangs, so that we have a nice little group in there and have a lot of movement with all the animals in here. For the backdrop, I once again used those fake trees, which I really do like. I'm using them quite inflationary in my builds here in Monkey World in Arizona, but yeah, it fits because it is a clear thing to do in here, so everything looks cohesive and looks just the same. And I wanted to have something where the animals and also the keepers could cross the water section right here. So I built something like a wooden bridge I didn't want to go with the rock bridge once again. I wanted to have something different. So yeah, I just used these wooden planks, connected them together, built something like the staircase that I had before built for the little cabins for the animals, and just made a bridge out of it. Gave it a little bit of support with some of the yeah, with some round wooden beams, and also used some rope pieces, as you can see right now when I'm building that, so that looks like a nice little adventurous bridge over, yeah, should I call it river? Yeah, it's something like a small river. Yeah, and here you can see the little bridge. I just put down some more of the rope pieces because I thought it was a little bit less, too less, to make it make sense, and to be safe for people to walk over there and animals to walk over there. As you know, most of the monkeys can't swim. I don't know how it is about the orangutan, but I think sorry, but I think orangutans also do not swim and can't swim. And I also think the Siamang can swim, even though they have very, very long arms, and you might think they might be able to swim around in the water. And no, they definitely are not able to do that. And they would sink like a stone, and we don't want that to happen. So building a little backstage area here as well, because our keepers are very busy with taking care of all the other animals that we have in the area of the zoo, with the Indonesian islands, the capuchin monkeys, and also our big apes in the house right on the opposite of the path, on the other side of the path. So I decided we have to build a last stuff building and connect it to the Siamang habitat, so that our stuff can take care of the Siamangs, the orangutans, and our last animal that we will fit into the park in the next episode next Monday, which, I'm saying it again, is also the 1-year anniversary for the channel Bake and Play. So I hope you guys will all enjoy it and come over to the channel on that day. Unfortunately, there won't be a live stream on the day, which would be very cool. I would have loved to share that day with you all together and do a little live stream, walk around the park or something like that, but yeah, that's not going to happen, because I will walk around that day, and I think it will be St. Petersburg Beach or Homosassa Springs, just don't know, one of those places, definitely. Maybe I'm going to swim with the manatees that day, so I just don't know, but I'm going to tell you when I'm back. Yeah, so what else is to do in here? We have the building, we have the climbing structures for the monkeys, so there needs to be some fencing to be done, so that our visitors can have a nice view inside the habitat. And then after that, I think we go into, yeah, rocks and plants once again. And also a little bit of terraforming, because that is something that we didn't do. That is the thing that we almost do in the beginning of every habitat, because yeah, it is hard to do that afterwards. So that is something that you usually have to start with when you are creating a new habitat for animals. Here I built some more climbing structures and connected the things together. So I did it in some different ways. For that case here on that side, I used something like a staircase once again for the animals. Sometimes I used those hanging bridges, which you might see in a minute, and I tried to connect nearly everything with each other, which didn't really work out, but most of the parts are connected to each other. So here's some terraforming going on. And I was so in love with this little wooden huts that I did something similar in Swamp Lake Zoo. The episode is coming out this Wednesday, where I also built a habitat for the Siamangs in there. It's not a co-joint habitat like we have in here in Arizona, but it's just for the Siamangs over there. And I also built something with some similar huts, but still a little bit different than this, and also with some nice viewing galleries in there. Tried some different things, and if you want to, you can watch that video on Wednesday on my channel as well. So a thing that is very important all the time, that you see me do all the time, is after you did some terraforming, color the terrain to give it a little bit of structure, because it looks pretty boring if you don't do that. Just give it a little bit of dirt or rock structure, and also color the terrain of the flat ground as well. Try to not just use one structure like the small grass. Is it small grass or short grass? Like the short grass. Just try to paint something like animal path in between with some dirt color or something like that. So that makes the whole thing look way more interesting and realistic, and just try it out. Okay, what we have here right now is placing down lots of rocks. That is the next thing to do when you did the terraforming. You should go in and put down some rocks. Especially when you have something like a water feature in your habitat. Just put some rocks around it, not everywhere, because this starts looking pretty weird at some point. But put down some of them here and there to make a nice rock structure close to the water. And also everywhere that you elevated the terrain, put down some rocks. And after you did that, as you can see, it is time to put down plants. I decided to put in some water plants, which comes in very nice and good looking, especially in habitats where you have those jungly areas. It always is nice when you do these little lotus flowers or stuff like that. And you don't want to have too much of big trees in here, and so don't use too many of them. You can put them around the habitat. That makes you have this jungle environment, still looking realistic, but don't put too much of those big trees inside the habitat, because that will make the habitat look very dark because of all the shadows that you have in there, and also make the habitat look a little bit small. So here's the thing that I'm doing, that I told you about, and told you about the last episodes as well. Just put some trees around the habitat in the background, that does the job very well. What I wanted to say, yes, when you use something like the faux rock trees, that I put around the habitat. Use something like the bamboo to put it right in between or over the rocks in sometimes, so that it doesn't look that boring or dull or something like that. Make it look a little bit overgrown and interesting. Yeah, just finishing with putting down some final trees. You can already, not trees, plants. You can already see how nice it is coming together and how cool it looks already. And yeah, I'm really very, very, very happy with the whole habitat. Some palm trees right in between, and then yeah, we might be finished. Oh yeah, we might not be finished. Something that I'm forgetting about these days is putting down some animal enrichments from time to time. So sometimes it happens that I have the animals in the habitat and I think, why aren't they doing anything? And then it comes to my mind that I forgot about putting down some of the enrichment items. So we have to use a lot of the enrichment items, especially when you have something like this big climbing structures in there. Try to put some of the enrichment items on the climbing structures, so on the wooden cabins or close to them, so that the animals use everything. And as I said in the last episode, we are here in the loud and noisy and obnoxious area of the zoo. We are finished with the habitat, our animals have moved in, and you can already hear it's going to be very, very loud in here, because the Siamangs are known for singing, especially in the morning hours. So if you visit a zoo, make sure that you go to the Siamang or gibbon habitats in the morning, because they do something like yeah, like this in the morning hours, to say good morning to every animal in the park. I think so. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's nice when you hear it here in the game, but it's something very, very cool and very special if you hear it in a zoo or in the nature. Yeah, it's something like hearing a lion roar, which is also very, very cool and very majestic. So check that out when you get up early and go into a zoo of your choice. Yeah, with that being said, we are already at the end of the episode. It was a little bit different. Here I thought, okay, Siamangs can swim, because this little guy just was jumping in the water and out of the water. But it seems it was a little bit of a bug or something like that, or the Siamang was stuck in here. And I had a little bit of a hard time to select it and follow it around the habitat. Yeah, but as I said, we are at the end of the episode. I let you enjoy some last views on the habitat and on the animals, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did so, then leave a like, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss yeah, little buddy, so you don't miss the next and our last episode as well. And have a great time until then. So bye guys, see you soon.